Fresh out of the campaign, you have once again sailed off to Karui shores. You have decided to play an unusual skill called Blade Blast of Unloading. Maybe you don't know where to start, maybe you just want to see how it's done. Or, perhaps, you have just randomly stumbled upon this video. In this video, I will go over 5, 50 and 500 divine versions of this build, as well as showcasing crafting 5 and 50 D gear from scratch, and showcasing some content that each version is capable of. As opposed to thinking of having 5, 50 or 500D, I'd like you to think of this as a journey from 0 to 5, from 5 to 50, and so on. Nobody starts with divines in their inventory, and character progression is the best thing about Path of Exile for me. So, without further ado, let's get to crafting. And as always, I start with nothing but 5 divines in my inventory. And first things first, let's change it up for some chaos. Let's knock out some of the uniques essential for the build first. My body armor of choice is Utula's Hunger, a very underrated body armor that is always cheap on the league start. Only stat we care on it is life. So let's make sure we're buying one with at least 950 and make sure it's not corrupted. Next up, for the weapon. A very classical choice for the Blade Blast builds called Iron Point Dagger. And for the amulet, we are going for the Replica Dragonflight with a level of all Blade Blast gems. All of those items are rather cheap on the league start. They may be a little bit more expensive, but no more than 20c each. Next order of business, let's knock out the jewelry. For the first ring, we are going for a 2-stone ring with fractured tier 2 res.
Not bad.
And to craft it, let's buy some yellow juice. And to the horticrafting station we go. If you don't have it unlocked, you need to complete a harvest quest. And slam it right here, and let's do Reforge Chaos until we see tier 2, tier 1 Chaos res, tier 4, tier 3, tier 2 with low res. I think this will do for now. And to finish it off, craft the non-channeling skill mana cost. For the next ring, let's go for the Amethyst ring with fractured strength or dexterity. There it is. And, much like the previous ring, we are once again hitting it with Reforged Chaos. Wonderful, we have hit int as well. But it does not have an empty affix, which we need. So it's time to annul. Let's buy 5, we're gonna need them. So let's try to annul save the prefix. And we annul the Chaos res. Once again to the horticrafting station. T1, Dex, wonderful. And we just grabbed that non-channeling. And that's our jewelry. When I said we're done with the jewelry, I actually lied to you. Belt is considered jewelry for some ungodly reason. So let's go for a cord belt. Make sure it's not fractured and not corrupted. There we go. To finish crafting it, we're just gonna buy some resistance essences. Which one? Doesn't matter, just go for the cheapest one.
I'll put the word out.
For the belt, we care about double resistance and maybe strength. Also no life in the prefixes. That's a good looking belt. Let's craft. I guess it just increased damage then. I don't see anything else that is useful. Let's buy some exalted orbs. That's a good looking belt. Shield, I'm gonna craft from scratch. For that, my shield of choice is the Supreme Spike Shield, because of the suppression implicit. Yoink. And to craft it, we're going to be using the block essence. Let's buy a handful.
All in order.
We're looking for suppression, chance to block spell damage, maybe cast speed. Well, I hit it on the first essence. That never happens. I am content with that shield. Let's just block life. And Exalt Slam for a good measure. Hope it doesn't hit any of the life modifiers. Reduced attribute requirements, that's whatever. And for a finishing touch, I'm going to craft Physical as extra chaos, giving us a little glimpse into what we are going for the build. I got impatient and specced some of the strength on the tree just so I could equip this majestic blade. Truly majestic. As for the rest of the gear, we are just looking to cap our resistances and spell suppression. To do it, we're looking for a fractured chance to suppress spell damage, and let's start with the gloves. To craft them, I will use Fire Essence, since this is the resistance that I have the least of. Let's look for a double resistance. Hold on a second. Those gloves sort of already have what I want. Well, this is awkward. I guess I will just put them on then. I prefer an evasion base, since energy shield is not gonna do anything with this character. And hit it with some fire resistances, fire essences, until we see good double res. This will do. To finish it off, let's just craft flat evasion rating. Nice! First try. How's our resistances looking? Way over on lightning, way under on fire and cold. For our boots, seeing how we don't have any fire nor cold res, let's go for a pair with fracture cold res. Also make sure it's not an armor or energy shield base, we want just pure evasion. Yuck. To craft, I'm gonna be using the fire res essence. Let's buy some more.
I should wait.
And we're looking for movement speed and maybe suppression. We have suppression, but we also have life. Life is unacceptable. If we can annul this life, which we did, I will be content with just crafting movement speed on those boots. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. Fine. 22 will do. Now, let's change out some more currency
All in order.
and buy our skill of choice. Blade Blast of Unloadng, gem level 19.
Really?
And from Lily, let's buy Blade Vortex and go over the skill mechanics a little bit. So, what kind of beast is this gem? By itself, it is not very impressive. It is in fact quite underwhelming. But, when combined with Blade Vortex, it can detonate this Blade Vortex and create a bunch of explosions. So that's the skill we're gonna be using. As you might imagine, it is not very comfortable running around and casting Blade Vortex all by yourself. So, we're gonna employ the Arcanist brand technology. It is going to be casting our spell for us. We are also gonna need an automation gem. And a brand recall gem. Let's handle the sockets a little bit. As you can see, all of our gear is green. It is very uncomfortable getting blue socket on this kind of gear, but there is a trick to that. Let's first get this socket to be blue. Or this one, this will do as well. Then, in the crafting bench, we simply make this have 2 sockets, and then 3 sockets, and then 2 sockets, and then 3 sockets, and then 2 sockets, until we have a blue socket. So, what is this Arcanist brand technology that we are employing? First, let's link our Arcanist brand to the Blade Vortex. Now, we cannot use it ourselves, but our brand uses it. The problem is, this brand is not gonna use it unless there's an enemy nearby. This is where brand recall comes into play. If we have any brands, and we brand recall them, they use their spell. And since we do not want to be pressing brand recall all the time manually, we are linking it to automation support. And just like that, the brand recall is going to be cast automatically as soon as it is off cooldown. This however doesn't work in hideout. So for the purposes of demonstration, I'm going to be pressing it manually in the hideout. This is where our ascendancy comes into play. If you take a note here, if I cast one brand, and brand recall it, I have 1 stack of Blade Vortex. This is abysmal, so let's allocate trigger bots. That is given us by the node Perfect Crime from Sabo. Let's try this again. I cast one brand, I brand recall it. Now I have 2 Blade Vortices. Now let's do the same with automation. Oh, let's see this again. I press the brand, I brand recall it. I have 2 Blade Vortices. Now let's see what happens when I link automation to it. And turn it off. I cast the brand, I turn on automation. Suddenly, we have 4 Blade Vortices. And they just keep stacking. So, why does this happen? Let's turn this off for a second. This is how the trigger bots work. What they do is, when you trigger a spell, they trigger it instead. And it does less damage. But that's irrelevant for us. So, what actually happens? Arcanist brand says it triggers the socketed spell. Now, this is our Arcanist brand. It is linked to the Blade Vortex. So, once we activated it, it triggers it, giving us 2 stacks. So, where does the 4 Blade Vortices come in? Well, automation, as it happens, also triggers a spell. And if we trigger the brand recall, it is triggered 2 times by trigger bots, and those 2 triggers are multiplied by 2 when using Arcanist brand, giving us 4 Blade Vortices. Now this is more like it. We can run around and spam Blade Blast of Unloadng as much as we want. Since we are already on topic of gems, let's go for our offensive package. To be precise, we are going for poison, and as such, the support gems are Chance to Poison, Unbound Ailments, Void Manipulation, and Cruelty. With our selection of gems, our socket colors on the body armor are not looking so hot. Let's first make it a 5 socket. How do we make it match the colors? I like using Tainted Chromas. A handful again.
I'll put the word out.
And of course, we're gonna need to vial our chest plate.
All in order. I'll
Let's
let you know.
hope it doesn't break. It didn't break. As for the socket colors,
Right there.
just spam Tainted Chromas until it matches. We need 3 green, 1 blue, 1 red. There we go. That took a while. Also, I messed up majorly by not 5-linking this armor before. Now I have to pay the price.
All in
Or
order.
rather, thankfully.
I should raise my fees.
Now, to round out the build, we want a cluster jewel. Make sure it adds maximum weight passives. It's a chaos cluster. That's more like it. And to craft it, I'm using aberrant fossils.
All in order.
5 should be enough.
I'll let you know. Well, make it happen.
We are looking for a triple passive. This is rather unlucky. Buy some more. I will settle for this one. It is acceptable. There are a total of 6 timeless jewels in PoE, each one affecting the 3 in various ways. Brutal Restraint, Elegant Hubris, Glorious Vanity, Little Pride, Militant Fate, and added in the last patch, Heroic Tragedy. For example, Brutal Restraint puts various little bonuses on allocated small and big nodes on your tree. On the other hand, Elegant Hubris completely removes any small node and puts out a very powerful replacements for big nodes. Each and every single one of the timeless jewels consists of 2 parts: Seed, that number you see on the top line, and Conqueror. For each unique jewel, it's different. Let's begin with the easy one, the Conqueror. Depending on the Conqueror, all keystones in the range will change. In the case of Militant Faith with High Templar Dominus Conqueror, we are changing every keystone, no matter where it's placed, into Inner Conviction. Remember when I said the part that every single timeless jewel affects the tree in different ways? Well, this is what the seed decides. When you put it into the tree, you can see different nodes change or remain the same. This behavior is different for every seed and every timeless jewel. From the research I did on the build, I already know that I want the Glorious Vanity jewel with the Doriani Conqueror for the Corrupted Soul keystone, and a very specific seed for a node that allows me to apply with the Ritual of Shadows. Unfortunately, in finding timeless jewels, there is no avoiding third-party software. You are looking at POB, basically a calculator for everything PoE. To begin, let's import our character, for which we're searching the timeless jewel. This is indeed our tree. I already found the jewel, but ignore it for now. Let's imagine this is our tree, and we are looking for a jewel into this socket that will give us the Ritual of Shadow nodes. To find a timeless jewel like that, we have a button called Find Timeless Jewel. There will be a pop-up window right here. You should select the jewel you are interested in. For us, it's already pre-selected, Glorious Vanity. Remember that we want the Corrupted Soul keystone, so we click the Doriani. And make sure to press the Filter Nodes checkbox, so it only looks into already allocated nodes. And right here, in Search for Nodes, we type Ritual of Shadows that we want. With that, press Search. Oops, I have forgotten to select a socket. There we go. And there we go, there's a bunch of jewels. Let's double click it, so it's added to our character. Switch to the Items tab, and select the newly added jewel. Indeed, the node that we are interested in is transformed into Ritual of Shadows, and the keystone is transformed into Corrupted Soul. In the game, you press this button again, and press the Copy Trade URL button. It will copy a bunch of those jewels, and then just paste it into PoE Trade, and there you go. These are the results of your search. Let's confirm it in game. There we go.
Oh, it seems.
And let's see what this jewel does to our tree. Indeed, we have the Ritual of Shadows notable, and Corrupted Soul Keystone. I will leave some of the trade searches in the description, but hopefully with this little guide you will be able to find the Timeless Jewel yourself. Finally, let's buy some jewels. I want Life, Strength, since I did not calculate my attributes properly and now I need to fix it, and either Damage over Time multiplier or Chaos Damage over Time multiplier. Goodbye, Soldier.
All in order. I'll,
Those two jewels should do.
I'd consider that.
With that, let's slot them in. There's one. And there's two. And apparently I'm still missing attributes. Nice. After socketing in jewels, I was still missing some strength, as you can see. To fix that, I have recrafted my belt. Unfortunately, I forgot to hit the record button. I was just spamming it with cold essences until it hit strength. Or an open suffix. If it hit an open suffix, I would have just crafted it. Also, I was avoiding life modifiers, since having a life modifier would turn off my body armor. It took about 2 stacks of essences, or maybe 3. Anyway, I'm down to 160 chaos. For my auras, I'm running Flesh and Stone, Herald of Plague, Herald of Agony. While we're at it, let's also buy Withering Step. Plague Bearer, a Despair Curse, faster casting support, Unleash support, Shield Charge, and faster attacks. Remaining currency should be enough to fix my sockets. And with that, let's turn on all of our reservations. Oh, that felt good. With that, let's look at our character sheet. Oh, some of my resistances are dog shit. I still have some currency. I think I can recraft this ring. Hopefully I have enough. Let's buy some more yellow juice. How much yellow juice can I afford? 50c worth. This will do it. I don't actually need this dexterity on the ring. So, I will once again reforge chaos until I hit one other resistance. There we go. I've hit lightning res and the low tier chaos res. Let's see at our resistances now. We're a little overcapped on lightning, a little overcapped on fire, and way undercapped on cold res. It has come to my attention that the suffixes on my sheet are complete dog shit, and as such, I'm gonna try to annul it.
I'll put the word out.
Nice, I have annulled the suffix. Oh, this is quite low tier. Let's just grab the regular cold res. This should do it. I have lost a little bit of damage, but now I'm res capped, I'm suppression capped, and I'm in good position to go over my skill tree. Silly me, I almost have forgotten the annoyance. Paying more than average price for this cord belt and not anointing it would have been a shame. Hopefully, there is some cheap annoyance. First one is robust.
I'll put the word out.
And for the amulet, we are now in search of Vigor with Amber, Indigo, and Violet. Now a little bit about the character. As said previously, we're a Blade Blast of Unloadng character, and, as you will see in the map showcase, playstyle for this character is very smooth. For our defenses, we have some evasion to avoid small hits, we have 100% suppression, res cap, some attack block, some spell block. For the 5T character, not too bad. Also, we are running haste and flesh and stone. The tree is pretty standard. First of all, to feast every reservation, we are grabbing this charisma wheel. We are grabbing every single bit of dot multi on our way we can. This wheel, and this wheel. To actually cap our poison chance, we are grabbing the fatal toxins wheel, as well as this wheel. We are grabbing suppression wheel here, suppression wheel here. Our cluster just gives us damage. We are running Eldritch Battery, because this build is very hungry for mana. Every time the Brand Recalls cast the Blade Vortex, they consume its mana cost. And since we are triggering the Blade Vortex 10 times in one Brand Recall, it's gonna add up very quick. We are running Eldritch Battery without any energy shield gear, with the help of the Corrupted Soul Keystone. This brand wheel is pretty much mandatory. It allows us to cast 2 additional brands, resulting in the brand recall being able to, well, recall 5 brands and cast 10 Blade Vortices. Without this point, the playstyle is not smooth at all. With it, very smooth. Now let's see what our put together build can do against one of the coolest bosses in the game, the Maven. I also used to think it was the hardest boss in the game. Good times. For the boss fight, only thing we care about is keeping track that we have 5 Arcanist brands at all times. Press the curse and Withering Step occasionally, otherwise just spam Blade Blast.
Stand still. Stand still. I will have what I want. Death will not be an escape. Stand still.
Death made real.
Cascade of pain. Stand still.
Death made real.
A cascade of pain. Stand still.
Contorts.
Death will not be an escape. Do what I say. A cascade of pain. Stand still. Death will not be an escape.
Made
Okay, that was a decent fight, albeit a little lengthy.
We must enjoy our contests, for it continues to play.
You can do a lot better. For one, I'm using level 20 gem, I'm on a 5 link. I have only 6 ascendancy points. Level 93. Yeah, in my book, that's a W. I think that's the first build in under 5D that can defeat Maven from me. Feels kinda good, to be honest. Let's look at something more pleasant. Let's look at the map. Which, this is where I think this build excels. This is the example of map you will be running when completing the Atlas. As you can see, you're just sort of unloading and shield charging around. For me, this kind of gameplay is very pleasant. The damage is more than enough to handle T16 maps. With all of that out of the way, it is now time for a 50D version of this build. We are going to be foregoing the entire poison package entirely and switching up to power charge stacking. It is pretty hard scaling poison with this build further, at least for me. As always, let's acquire some pocket change.
All in order. I'll let you know. I'll put the word out.
Let's also clean up our character a little bit since we're not gonna be needing majority of this gear anymore. We are not gonna be in fact needing all of it. Yes, as you might imagine, this is quite a big switch up. For our first, let's go for the Voidary, a classic power charge stacking tool. Next up, let's go for a Malakai's Loop Shield. We are going for a good roll on and a decent roll on an energy shield. This will do. Then, to round out the charge stacking package, let's go for Alakash's Impatience. I'm going for a decent movement speed roll, suppression implicit, and the power charge variant is mandatory. Now, I cannot help but notice that I cannot equip any of those items. Fortunately, there is a timeless jewel that can solve all of my issues as well as providing a lot of the damage. As is the case with any timeless jewel, let's head into the PoB. This looks ugly, but this is just a part of the process of finding a timeless jewel. Bear with me for a second. I've already familiarized you with this one. Hopefully, you have remembered something from that. I already know I want the Elegant Hubris jewel with the Caspiro variant. I care about very specific socket that I have already prepared. This one, the Supreme Ego. We want 0 node distance since I've already allocated all the nodes I want to be viable for this jewel. And for the notables that I care about, it's gonna be damage per power charge, energy shield per power charge. On which nodes? Let's copy the trade URL and head on to the trading site. Let's just buy one. There we go. And while we're at it, let's do a little respec and slot this jewel in. And just like that, we have Supreme Ostentation, which allows us to ignore all attribute requirements of everything completely. Now, Let's spend a second and see which nodes actually got transformed into what we want. Fire res, chill avoidance, there we go, energy shield per power charge. Damage per power charge. And another energy shield per power charge. Let's continue with our shopping. Next up, we want gloves. Gloves as choice are Entropic Devastation. They're an excellent choice for each and every single one of these spells, because they allow us to scale our damage with Impale. We are going for +1 variation on the Corruption implicit. Now, if you can recall, this build is very hungry for mana, that's why we're using Eldritch Battery. We're no longer using Eldritch Battery because we want to use our shield for defenses. In that endeavor, Whispers of the Infinity Amulet will help us. It gives us all the benefits of the Eldritch Battery without actually tapping into our health pool. Nice. Just like that, our spells now cost energy shield instead of mana. This is huge. Next up, the belt. I'm going for Graven Secret for +1 power charges and absorption charges. In combination with Relicash Impatience, they provide benefits of having both power charges and absorption charges. So that's a no-brainer. Now, for the last unique item of the build, we are going for Elevor for its high suppression. And what we are actually after is the +1 maximum power charge corruption implicit. It doesn't technically need to be Elevor, this can be any unique helmet, or even a rare helmet if you can afford it.
It's a gilded wonder.
With all of this unique gear on us, we have crazy pressure for resistances. There is one resistance that we can solve pretty easy by clicking Chaos Inoculation. There, Chaos Res is solved. Now, for the rest 3 resistances, we're gonna need to craft some pretty good gear. And we're gonna start with body armor. My body armor of choice is Twilight Regalia, with at least 90% base percentile, and at least 99% fractured energy shield. To craft this body armor, I'm gonna be slamming it with Deafening Essences of Woe.
I should.
This has a really good hybrid roll, but it has bad res. Let's see if we can slam tier 1 res. Hey, we did! That's nice. Let's just slam power and cold res. Looking body armor. Now we only need about 70 of each res. Let's start crafting our rings. The ring base of choice is a Moonstone ring with Crusader influence. And to craft it, I'm still gonna be slamming it with Essences of Woe. Let's ulch it first. We are looking for 1 high resistance, plus at least tier 2% energy shield. Ooh, this is a good one. Then finish crafting it if we need more resistances. Let's also buy some defense catalyst.
All in order.
This should be enough for both rings and an amulet. This is definitely not enough for both rings, let's buy some more. Now for our second ring. The process is very similar. Well, didn't forget, let's bless the other ring. There we go, this one was more pliable. It. We're still spamming Essences of Woe.
Make it happen.
Ooh, this is a solid ring. I think I'll keep it even without percent AS. I'm keeping it for sure. Almost forgot to craft the ring. Now, for having all of our gear pieces, I'm still left with the majority of my budget. To explain what I'm gonna do with it, I'm gonna first need to respec. Now that's more like it. We have a lot of empty sockets on our tree currently, as well as a spot for a new shiny cluster jewel. Let's do just that now. For our cluster jewel, we are going for an 8 passive, and this one is gonna be fizz damage. Good. To craft it, we are gonna be using jagged fossils.
I'll put the word out.
We are looking for a free passive. Let's load up those resonators. There's a 2 passive. But it's not a good 2 passive. There's a free passive. And this one is actually ideal, or nearly ideal. There we go. Next up, let's go for a Watcher's Eye. This is one of the most important pieces of this build. Our required modifier is impales you hit last and additional hits while using Pride. We are gonna be using Pride. And for mods that we just kinda want, here they are. The trade link is gonna be in the description. Since we have already bought Watcher's Eye for it, might as well get Discipline and Pride. Let's socket those whenever for now. And turn them on. Let's figure out the rest of the jewels. For the jewel search, I have resistances, since if you remember, I still need to cap my resistances. Crit multi and energy shield. This one looks nice. And so does this one. Much better. And it is, I'm just missing some fire res. Since our character doesn't look like a hobo now, I've put on some MTX. Night Lotus helmet, pitch black bandana, Oracle body armor, Oracle gloves, and Ghost Whale boots. Now, there's a beautiful thing in this game called Runegrafts, we're gonna be using 2 of them.
I'll put the word out.
First, let's buy Runegraph of Treachery,
Well,
and then for the more expensive one, Runegraph of the Fortress.
we'll make it happen.
This one reduced attributes, but increases global defenses by significant amount. Since we are running the Supreme Ostentation Keystone, we don't care about attributes anyway. This one is basically free energy shield boost. Look at our energy shield. Boom. Now for this one, it's gonna help us fit some reservations in. Speaking of reservations, we're gonna be running Tempest Shield and Flesh and Stone. And hey, we're not even halfway through our budget. Things are looking great. Remember how I said we don't benefit from attributes? Well, there's this little guy. I'm gonna need a lot of those. Let's say this is enough for now. So, we have a lot of useless intelligence. Let's replace it with energy shield tattoos. And just like that, we are very stupid now. Next up, let's tattoo away some dexterity, since there is no point in having it anyway. I'm gonna use those tattoos for mark effect.
I'll let you
3, 4, and I guess we can do the 5th one. Let's handle our sockets next. Now, the perceptive viewer might have noticed that I was keeping this socket open, and that is for a good reason. That's because I'm going for a rational doctrine. Implicits don't matter. We're just here for the con ground.
Won't you say X? Won't you say
This is my favorite jewel in all game. If strength is my highest attribute, which it is right now thanks to all of those tattoos, I have constant on ground below me. This con ground gives us a lot of regen. Where is it? Oh, I know where it is. I don't have Zealots of Spec. There we go. This con ground gives us 400 AS regen. Now let's buy some gems. Let's start with our main skill. Next up, let's go for Empower 4. It's very cheap at this point. No, it's not. Let's go for Empower 3. Let's go for 2020 Brutality. Critical damage. Power charge on crit. And increased critical strikes. We also need to color our body armor accordingly. For that I'm gonna buy Chromos. And I'm just gonna use the recipe for 2 red and 1 green. Let's do a little bit of a defensive setup. For that we're gonna need cast when damage taken and Immortal Call. It's gonna be in our wand. The final touches are some flasks. I'm gonna go for Jade, Silver, Quicksilver, and the Suppression Flask, whatever it's called. And spam until I see. Gain a charge when you crit. There we go, this will do. I forgot just one thing, I want Assassin's Mark. Now, this build is already strong enough to handle Ubers and we still have 15 div left to go. I'm gonna kill Uber Maven and then come back to make some more upgrades that I would consider unethical since their price will vary massively depending on whether the build is popular or not.
Stand still. Cascade of pain.
Death made real.
Stand still. A cascade of pain.
Death made real.
Stand still. A cascade of pain. Death will not be escaped. My irritation is growing. A cascade of pain.
Caretaker, to me.
There we go. I did it only with 1 dev, and only because I completely botched the ground zones. I feel like this build is really strong. I am proud of myself for coming up with it. Now for the promised upgrade. I'm gonna buy an Impossible Escape Jewel with the Supreme Ego Keystone. I know this might seem silly, this only costs 10C, what's the big deal? But If the demand of those jewels spikes, it's gonna be worth upwards of 20D, so I wasn't confident in using it for the previous version of the build. But let's refund all of this stuff. Let's put this in. I will also need a new timeless jewel. Let's see what we can do. 1, 2, 3. And just like that, we have saved 3 skill points. I should probably grab another jewel socket, but I'm just gonna be lazy and grab those 3 skill points. By far, our best annoyance is Tranquility. It is also one of the more expensive ones. That annoyance actually gives me about 10% of the damage. For farming with this strategy, I recommend running nightmare maps. Here's the regex. Here is the overview of this regex on the trade site. As always, all the links are gonna be in the description. I'm up and run it right now. Yeah, my favorite layout is Abomination. Its boss is pretty chill and doesn't have many annoying immunity phases. This map seems to... I think I have missed an annoying mod where buffs on the players expire faster. Thus my Arcanist brand duration is non-existent, making it quite annoying. I'll make sure to update the rejects with this shit. So if you decide to run it, it's not as annoying. There is the boss. Let's see what we can do. Kill the Hydra first. Now kill the totems that he shits out. Also taking care of melee aggro. Now for this totem. And for the shout. And this guy is unironically the easiest part about the whole fight. There we go. Nice, the Awakening Fragment. That's what I wanted for Christmas. You can also run pretty much any normal strategy on the map, but personally, I like bossing with this character, since I feel like this is where he excels. And that's it for the 50D version. I'm gonna skip putting on the gear, since I basically started making this character as soon as I finished the 50D one, and it turned out pretty good if you ask me. So, I took an idea that I first saw in John Grown video about automating Blade Blast. Basically, how it works is there is this quiver, trigger a socketed bow skill when you cast a spell, and this little frenzy arrow pops out. Then, in our 6th link, we have mana forged arrows and life tap. The interaction between those skills is as such that if you spend any mana on bow attacks, which frenzy is a bow attack, it's gonna trigger a bunch of stuff. One of those gems, where is it, is supported by cast on critical, and it's gonna be casting Blade Vortex all of the time. Effectively, this means that we're gonna have permanent 10 stacks of Blade Vortex. I'm also leveraging the very new belt with the Diamond and Impenetrable Shrine buff. Every single hit that we do crits, and this combines fantastically with the Merlin's Fallacy. The tree is practically unchanged, albeit a little different. We are now running Evasion. I'm now also running the Forbidden Flash, Forbidden Flame combination with the Escape Artist for the ultimate survivability. Well, without further ado, let's see what this build can do. I love me some Uber field farming. This build does great against them. Let's see what we can do. As you can see, we are no longer spamming button. This is basically a one button build. Only things I'm pressing right now is Frost Blink, Blade Blast of Unloadng. And boy, unload it does. Well, how long do you think this Cortex, Uber Cortex, is gonna survive? My bet is about 5 seconds tops. Yep, that's the damage. Yep, that's the Uber Cortex. Let's see the loot. Oh, a Rational Doctrine. Not bad, not bad. Next up, let's go for Elder. We are gonna do something. This fight, it's just important to keep your eyes on top of Shaper. Elder doesn't really do anything and his attacks are very telegraphed. Shaper, on the other hand, is very unpredictable. Both his balls and beam are deadly.
Fight on. Grip of the infinite.
Oops, I got slammed. Incredibly unlucky. And no Watcher's Eye for me. Well, onto the Reverent Fragments we go.
Is secure within the reality of torment. By their time, intangible pain. Her power is an illusion made real. Me.
I'm best to my will.
Her power is an illusion made real. Her power is an illusion.
There we go.
Dread shall not be erased.
Any flasks? No flasks today. And then the Awakener, my favorite.
I've never seen anything like this. A veil of safety answers to
Oops! Well, Death to Awakener basically doesn't count. Oh my god, where am I? Jesus Christ, fuck the Awakener. Lord. Now, for the final act, let's clear the field. Albeit it is much easier than any of the individual Ubers. They're gonna go first. Here.
a veil of safety and security. Another challenger. Resist.
This one's dead. Where's Cirrus? Oh my lord. Oh, I dodged it. Nice. I didn't.
Unrivaled. The Atlas is everything we see, and everything we do not. In the depths of her mind, she holds.
Now, this is it for my Blade Blast of Unloading journey. Hopefully you enjoyed it and got something useful for yourself. I tried very hard to make those builds viable. I tested and tested and POB'd. I had to redo the 50D version like 5 times to make sure it is somewhat uber viable. It has been great fun. Thank you for watching.